Tonight we are honored that he has come here as the third John Cardinal Foley lecturer. So would you please join me in welcoming Father Thomas Rosica.
The topic I've chosen to speak on is sharing the joy of the gospel with the media and through the media. It's a very fitting topic for a man after whom this series is named. For that's exactly what Father and then Archbishop and Cardinal Foley did his entire life. He lived and shared the gospel of joy with the media and through the media to the entire world. Francis is the world's shepherd and a beautiful model and example of the new evangelization in action. And what is his most important achievement to the present? From my perspective, I believe that he's rebranded Catholicism and the papacy. Prior to Francis, especially in the immediate years preceding the election, many people on the street would be asked, what is the Catholic Church all about? What do we stand for? And the answer came back very frequently, Catholics, well, you're against abortion, against gay marriage, and against birth control. You're well known for your sex abuse crisis that's terribly marred and weakened your moral authority and credibility. Almost every time I would send out camera crews, streeters as we call them, to get footage for different stories we're doing. We go into big squares and public areas in Toronto, and time after time, this is all we were able to pick up from people. And many of them were Catholics who were saying it. Today, the response is a bit different. What do they talk about now? What do they say about the Pope? They're speaking about our leader who's unafraid to confront sins and evils that have marred us. A Pope who is concerned about environment, about mercy, compassion and love, and a deep passion and concern and care for the poor. He's won over a great part of the media. By no means is this an indication that the teachings of the Church and message of the gospel have been fully understood, embraced, and received by all. Nevertheless, something has shifted in terms of church-media relations. Look at what Pope Francis said to the special session of the United States Congress last September, and more, how he said it. He didn't scold, chastise, excoriate, condemn, or excommunicate those powerful women men sitting before him, many of whom were Catholics. Rather, he urged lawmakers to build on their great history, to draw from their deepest traditions and principles. He upheld examples that astounded us for individuals that one would not expect to come from the mouth of a pope. He reminded them of the good that they've done in the past, which serves an example of the good they can and should do in the future. And I quote, "Our response must indeed be one of hope and healing, of peace and justice. We are asked to summon the courage and the intelligence to resolve today's many geopolitical and economic crises. Even in the developed world, the effects of unjust strictures and actions are all too apparent. Our efforts must aim at restoring hope, righting wrongs, maintaining commitments, and thus promoting the well-being of individuals and of all peoples. We must move forward together as one in a renewed spirit of fraternity and solidarity, cooperating generously for the common good." And one of the critiques of Francis's Petrine ministry and teaching, heard in these parts, is that the Pope is not speaking out enough against abortion. I hear this criticism very often. I assure you that being one who receives the Pope's texts every morning and translating many of them, that he is profoundly pro-life. He offers to the Church and the world a consistent ethic of life, from its earliest moments of conception to natural death, from womb to tomb. He is doing what the Bishop of Rome and the successor of Peter should do. What is it? To position the evil of abortion within its proper moral context, the failure to recognize the dignity of every single human person at every age and stage of life. Procured abortion is only one of the poisonous fruits from the rotted tree growing in the corrupted garden of the culture of death. Over the past years, he strongly denounced efforts to redefine marriage and issued a thundering condemnation of abortion, euthanasia, and in vitro fertilization, calling them sins against God. Just last week, on January the 22nd, he addressed the Roman Rota with these words, "The Church can show the unfailing, merciful God, the love of God to families, especially those wounded by sin and the trials of life, and at the same time, proclaim the essential truth of marriage according to God's design." Pope Francis avoids any opportunity that can lend itself to political manipulation of his person and his words. He's very clear in giving positive messages, even in the most complex situations. What view of us do others have? If we judged our identity based on some Catholic blogs and websites, we would be known as the people who hate everything. I recently read a website which said the Pope made a big mistake in calling a Jubilee of Mercy. It should be the Jubilee of Condemnation. If anything, we must be known as the people who stand for someone, for something positive that can transform lives and engage and impact culture. To what degree are our blogs and websites really the expression of the wealth of the Christian patrimony, of successfully transmitting the good news that the Lord has asked us to spread? And with young men and women in religious formation and formation for the priesthood, we have our work cut out for us. And the Church has not yet risen to the occasion of proper formation of young adults and people supposedly defending the faith who don't know what they're doing using this very important instrument. Cardinal John Patrick Foley laid the groundwork for Pope Francis's dynamic and creative successful outreach to the media today. Over 23 years of often hidden work at our home office on the Tiber, John Patrick Foley showed the seeds for a new springtime of evangelization in the Church. May this good shepherd of Philadelphia rest in peace, intercede for us, continue to inspire us, and show us how to be good communicators, how to work closely with the media, and through them to teach the world. Thank you.